What's up, guys? It's Mike from The Breaking Point here. Season is coming along pretty quick here. It is getting to be that time of year where either you're putting in for tags or you're getting drought results back from a lot of states. And I just wanted to talk to everyone today about a hunt that me and Dylan did back in January down in Arizona. Do-it-yourself hunt that is actually pretty cost effective, and a lot of people don't know about that you can really do it for a pretty affordable price. It is a great hunt for people who, like I said, if you get the drought results back from a lot of states you're putting in for and you're just not getting the tags, it's over the counter. So you can go really whenever you want, and the beauty of the hunt is that it doesn't conflict with a lot of other western states as far as hunting dates. It'd be end of December for some of the early over-the-counter archery down there, and then up all the way through January, depending on the units. You'd have to really do some of the research as far as what units are open certain times of the year. What I wanted to do with this vlog is talk about the hunt, talk about how it all started for us doing the research, where we ended up, where we did, and breaking down the price, just showing how cost effective it really can be, and maybe some areas where you could save money along the way, where we felt we could save money along the way, and then just talk about our experience in general with the hunt. Really, Arizona's been a state for me that I've wanted to hunt for quite a few years now. I had some family members that have gone down and had some success down in Arizona, and they always went, January time when a lot of the hunting seasons were closed. So what I did is last summer I joined Epic Outdoors. I'll have a link in the description below about their website. What they are is they're a membership-based Western hunting magazine. They help with assisting clients in putting in for draw applications, getting tags, and getting you into the right areas to be successful on hunts. I joined that membership last year, and instantly when I started looking into this hunt, I contacted Jason Carter at Epic Outdoors, told him some of the areas I was doing research on that I was interested in hunting, and he got back to me and gave me some references from people that they have through their operation that have hunted in these units, and gave me a gentleman's phone number, called him up, was a great guy, told me his experience in this particular area that we were hunting, and the good and the bad about it. And so it just basically gave me a starting point as far as where to go and where we wanted to target in on hunting this over-the-counter hunt. Throughout the whole process last summer, I used Go Hunt a lot for doing a lot of research. The beauty about Go Hunt is you can go on there and you can really break down a state by unit. There's several different filters on there as far as age structure, size, quality, tag availability. I mean, you name it. It's basically a search engine for hunting the western states. So I went on there and I dug up a lot of information as far as some of the units I was keying in on, and it's pretty neat because in some of the comments and descriptions they actually give you some specific areas where deer are located in these units. So also a great way to just hone in on when we're going in blind like this to where we can start and at least get on deer hopefully quicker. That is pretty much it as far as the breakdown of the hunt. I wanted to dig more into the price and what we actually paid, myself and Dylan traveling, all of our expenses, and just wanted to show more on how cost effective it really can be for people who want to do it. Given that we're in Wisconsin, it was a 26-hour drive. We started looking into flights be middle of December for this hunt that we did in January, and we found some really cheap flights on American Airlines. I think they were $96 one way. So for each ticket, so we just booked them to get down there, and we were going to be down for 8 days. We weren't really sure when we were going to be returning. It kind of depended on if we were successful and whatnot. So we didn't actually book our return flights until I think 2 days before we actually came back home. Our return flights 2 days before we came home was $63, which was actually a freaking steal. We were not sure what we are going to be getting into as far as booking our flights on the way back. So what we did is we flew down to Arizona. We got a rental vehicle for the 8-day stretch, which was our biggest cost out of the entire trip. It was $570 for a rental vehicle. We rented a SUV, Chevy Equinox, which 4-wheel drive. It got us through 75% of the terrain that we were covering on this trip. Could have used a pickup, probably could have gotten to a little bit more off the grid, remote areas, but for a lot of people that don't know much about Arizona, there's a lot of roads there. Most of your ground is pretty accessible, either by foot or by vehicle travel, as long as you have something in 4-wheel drive. Once we got down to Arizona, we were going to be camping this trip. We camped right in the National Forest this time of year. In January, which it was pretty cold some nights. It got down into the mid-20s on average, and even one night into the teens. We bought everything that we were going to need for this 8 days at Walmart. Went there, we bought our tags, we bought our licenses, we bought our food, and we bought all the camping gear that we were going to need, from tents, sleeping pads. So we packed our sleeping bags and a couple of camping accessories in our carry-ons, which were $100 to bring down with our hunting gear, bows, camera gear, and then $100 to bring back everything as well. So once we got to Arizona, we got our tags at Walmart, which was $130 for the hunting fishing combo license for the state of Arizona, and then another $300 for the actual deer tag. So the total cost to hunt this over-the-counter hunt was $460. On top of that, all the food and all the gear that we were gonna have for this trip came out right around $375. Fuel for this trip, given we had a rental vehicle, came with a full tank, but we still ended up spending around $56 just in fuel. We did do quite a bit of traveling in between a few different units, so we did put on a significant amount of miles. I wanna say it was probably around 1,200 miles in that 8 days. So I felt like we didn't spend that much money really when it comes to fuel costs. Other miscellaneous expenses we had on the trip was a $5 car wash at the end before we could return the vehicle. Also, we had some miscellaneous expenses of alcoholic beverages along the way. So the total cost for me and Dylan to be down in Arizona for 8 days between flights, tags, food, travel, and returning back home was right around $1,927, which is pretty reasonable for 2 people. I feel like there's some areas we definitely could have saved money on. One being, if we had more people involved, we could have cut some costs on rental. Or if we knew someone down in the area that had a vehicle that we could borrow for the week, we could have definitely saved some money that way. The rental was the biggest kick in the shorts for everything that we did this whole trip. Also, I feel like we could have saved a little bit on food. We bought everything at Walmart, like I said. Once we started kind of traveling around the area more, we found out there's a lot more Dollar Generals, things like that, where we could have probably saved, you know, maybe 30, 40 bucks in food, just purchasing it from somewhere else. Other than that, I think that's pretty much the main areas that we could have saved money on this trip. I think if we were gonna do it with a group of people, or if you were gonna do it with a group of people, it wouldn't be the worst idea to looking into, depending on the area you're hunting, looking into staying at a cheap motel even. As we start traveling through a good portion of the state, you're not too far from a lot of towns in most of these areas, and you can get a pretty reasonable hotel around $40 to $50 a night, which split up between 4 guys is very doable. Another thing I would recommend, even though this is an over-the-counter hunt, anyone can get a tag. If you're gonna go with a group of guys and you want to save money, I would recommend just buying 1 tag at a time. This type of spot and stock hunting that we did is really a group-involved sport. It's very tough just for one guy even to be successful in this hunt. So before you get carried away and buy a couple $1,000s in tags, I would just start off, if you're gonna grow with a group of people, with one guy purchasing a tag and going from there. You're not too far. Anywhere you go, half hour to an hour from a Walmart or anywhere that's gonna sell hunting or fishing licenses. So if you do, for some reason, get successful on the first couple days of the hunt, you can always go purchase another tag and keep hunting. Other than that, that's pretty much the price breakdown that we had for this trip. I wanted to go a little bit more into the hunt itself and some of the experiences that we had with it along the way. The particular area that we were hunting was National Forest, like I said. Our hunt, we started on Tuesday, and then we hunted all the way through the weekend and then the first few days of the week. So the first 2.5 days, based on some of the information I got from Go Hunt and from the references I had on Epic, we got on deer right away. I mean, literally the first road that we took off scouting, we were pretty lucky. We seen some really good quality bucks, and we had a really good starting point for the hunt itself. So the first few days of the hunt, we were on deer. We were on really nice bucks, got a couple stalks in, weren't running into any hunters. And then Friday afternoon is when things really started getting interesting for us. We started experiencing a lot of weekend hunters coming from the city. We were probably 10, 15 miles from a major tourist town. So we started seeing a lot of that weekend traffic, which really pushed a lot of these deer out of the areas that we were glassing further up into the hills, and made the rest of our weekend hunt pretty difficult. We decided at that point that we were going to check out a couple different units, see if we could get away from people. And for those of you that have not ever done this hunt or been to Arizona, a lot of Arizona is very accessible on their national forests and on their state lands. A lot of it's cattle operated or leased out operations. So there's a lot of roads, a lot of recreational traffic on the weekends, and a lot of other hunters, especially given the fact that this is an over-the-counter season. So we spent a good portion of the rest of our trip trying to find new areas where we could get away from people, and we were fairly successful in doing so. On the last couple days, we did get on some really good bucks again, where we didn't run any other hunters. It was in an area couple units south, like 2-3 hours from where we first started. A lot different stalking conditions from what we were used to from the beginning, and we just couldn't get it done that trip. We didn't have the wind for a lot of good stalking, getting in close on some of these bucks and bedding them up like we're normally used to. The hunt itself was a lot different from any other mule deer hunts that I've experienced out west, between hunting Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota, where typically you spend a lot of your time behind the glass and watching deer lay up and making your moves on them. Some of the terrain we were in, you start off your mornings and your afternoons the same, doing a lot of glass and trying to locate deer. But the problem that we ran into a lot is, just given the terrain and some of the land features, is it was very difficult to keep tabs on some of the deer. It wasn't too hard for them to get up into the hills where there's a lot more juniper timber or brush. It made really bedding deer up and stalking them in that aspect difficult. Where we had a lot more success on was locating open areas that we knew where deer were going to be in the mornings feeding or coming out into the afternoons, and glassing and waiting for them, and then trying to cut them off whatever their patterns were going to be at that particular day. Other things I would recommend with this hunt is really utilizing Onyx to find some of these areas that are very limited with roads, and just trying your best to get away from people. I guess one of my biggest recommendations for this hunt would be, if you're going to be coming out of state to do it, really dedicate the weekday, in my opinion. I feel like we would have been a lot more successful planning just from a Monday through Friday hunt. And even if we were gonna stay longer, maybe go scouting or doing something different for a couple days. While a lot of that weekend traffic was out in where you're hunting, and then waiting till the following week for things to settle back down and get back to your hunt. That is really all I got for breakdown on this hunt. If you got any questions of anything else in regarding to this Arizona over-the-counter hunt, drop us some comments below. I'll try my best to answer any questions that you have. We are hoping to get back after them again this year. My tag is still valid in Arizona through December, so looking forward to hopefully getting back then. If not, I'll definitely be back in the future to try this spot and stalk hunt. So thanks again for tuning into the vlog. Again, give us a thumbs up. That helps us out a ton. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll talk to you guys later. See ya.